Hey guys, this is Billy from AdultCello.com, and welcome back to part 2 of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, a truly beautiful melody. So if you want to kind of catch up and you didn't see part 1 yet, there's a link below. Basically what we're doing is I'm kind of giving a walkthrough of how I would approach learning a melody, and also how I teach my students to approach learning a melody so that you build in really comfortable musicianship and really kind of tension-free habits by not overwhelming yourself. Okay, so it's kind of about stripping things down. So this week we're going to go ahead, we're going to do left hand only, and we're going to finish the melody. We're going to do the pickup to bar 17 all the way to the end of the melody. Okay, so if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. That way you don't miss any of these future upcoming lessons. And if you haven't got the sheet music yet, there's a link to that as well below, so that you can follow along at home and practice before next week's lesson when we bring the bow into things. So let's just dive right back in. So we're going to do the pickup to bar 17. And what we did last time, we're going to continue. So we're going to have the metronome on, which I highly recommend. And it's going to have a click every 3 beats. It's grouped. So there's a click on, like click, dot, dot, click, dot, dot, and that's to help emphasize the grouping of a 6/8 rhythm. Okay, so there's a pulse, just to remind you, 6/8 pulses on 1 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It gives it the kind of dance-like feel. There will be syncopations, but that's the basic foundation for the pulse and kind of the rhythmic structure of the piece. All right, let's dive in with some notes. So if we look at bar 17, we now are going to shift. We were in first position previously, and then what I do is I would just go ahead and use that 8th note rest in bar 16 on beat 5. I would just use that to go ahead and shift, because it's a rest when you can shift silently and you don't even have to worry about masking anything with the bow. So the same C natural that you were playing with your second finger in first position, we're going to play with first finger in an extended second position, and then so that the pickup is first finger on C natural, and then you're going to go ahead and play the D with second finger, just kind of solidly second position. Bar 17, you have 3/8 notes, and then that's tied into a quarter note. So again, there'll be you're not going to hear beat 4, that the second pulse. It's part of a syncopation. And then bar 18, the last note of 17, I'm going to go ahead and wait, and we'll treat that as a pickup to 18. Okay, that's a very common theme throughout how I practice this. Is I try to, if there's like lonely 8th notes, I want to ideally give them a partner or like something they belong to. So usually in this kind of a rhythm 6/8, if you have a single 8th note, especially followed by a rest of some sort or a longer note, it's going to act as a pickup to the next bar. All right, so metronome on 130. Let's just go ahead and do 17 by itself, so it's just the first 5 beats, okay? So we're in second position, no pickup right now, just 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's it. All right, now let's put the pickup in, so with an extension back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Okay. And then now basically I would say the climax of the entire piece, which is bar 18. So you're going to have the pickup, which is the final beat of 17. And then so that's played with second finger, the pickup, and then that E natural is going to be played 4th finger, and you have 2 quarter notes essentially, because you have the quarter note and 8th note, but then that's tied to another 8th note. Basically in your mind you can think of it as like 2 big expansive quarter notes, and then beats 5 and 6, the melody starts coming back down, and that's E again, 4th finger. Last beat of bar 18 is going to go ahead and be second finger on D, and then let's just do those 2 bars. we'll call it for that. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's 18 without the pickup. So think 2 quarters in your mind. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. So now you've got like an interesting cross rhythm, because the clicking isn't 6/8, but you almost played, it's almost like you played 2 quarter notes of a 3/4 bar. So it should kind of feel unsettling in a good way. All right, 18 one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Okay, now with the pickup, so second finger, last beat of bar 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put 17 and 18 together, okay, with the pickup to 17. We're just gonna, because again, sorry about this. This is YouTube. It's a condensed version of my typical teaching. There would be more repetitions, but for right now, we're just gonna try, just give it a shot, all right? Here we go. Starting on C natural, first finger, for the pickup to 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just in case you didn't hear part 1, when I do like a that's usually we're tied over and I'm just marking a pulsed beat that's not actually being played by like a new note. So when you have a syncopation and it's tied over, I just kind of do that sound just to kind of mark the time and the pulse, so that I'm constantly actually feeling the pulse even when the music's not being played, you know, according to the pulse. Okay? Here we go. 17 and 18, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. Okay, and then let's just go ahead and tack on 19 and 20, essentially. The 19 and the first part of 20, because that's, it's so clearly the finish of that. We have a high point in 18, and then it really comes down during 19 and 20. So 19, you're, again, this whole time we're just in this second position with an extension backwards. So you're going to play D with second finger, D natural, and then second finger, first finger on C natural, and then beat 3 you play, and that's tied into not just the rest of the bar, but the first part of 20. So it just, then that all just kind of fades and tapers down to nothing. Okay, so let's try it. We'll do 19 once, and then we'll just tack it on to 17, 18, and 19. So second finger on D natural. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, here's 19. And that's it. Okay? So now let's try to go ahead and put 17, 18, and 19 together. All right. Pick up to 17. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is a great example of why you need to either say or like really continue to count. What I used to do, one thing I would often do is at the end of a phrase like that, I would just, the phrase relaxes, and so I would relax and I would stop counting. But then the second half of bar 20, we come in very precisely, second pulse, which is beat 4 of bar 20, you have to come in there. And if you just relax completely, like, that was nice, that felt great, what's for dinner? And then you're not counting and keeping track of time. And so the next entry might completely surprise you because you weren't accounting for the beats that you're just resting in the music's, kind of coming down. Okay? So now we can go ahead and start the pickup, beat 4 of 20. So we'll do the second half of bar 20 and 21 because they fit together well. Beat 4 of 20, we're in first position, and the way I've fingered it, there's a number of different fingerings that would work here. Here's just what I picked, is you're going to stay in first position, you play first finger on the E, fourth finger on the G, and then shift, and then you'll be on third finger in third position for the downbeat of 21. Okay? So here's second half of 20 and all of 21. So I'll count actually 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I think that shift where you only have an eighth note, I think that can be very comfortable, okay, eventually. This was one of the places that would have been really uncomfortable, and it's because I would try to play bum, ba, and then just kind of magically arrive, even though I didn't prepare the shift. I'm going to say go on beat 6, which means basically the minute you play the note, you're already shifting. Okay, so it's not like settling in to play this G natural and just, okay, I'm going to play this and then I'm going to shift. You can almost think of it as you play the note, and that the sound of the G natural, the instant you hear it, is already starting the shift to the next, to the downbeat of 21. All right? So if I was practicing that, so yeah, I'm going to count the start of 20, open. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay? 1, 2, 3, go. So I'm thinking go the minute I play the note. One more time, I'll count 3 beats of 20 and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay? Now, what's great about all the way up until the first ending, which is the start of bar 27, it's just it's the same rhythm in a longer way. It's like a bar and a half kind of rhythmic pattern that keeps happening, and it's a shift between first position and third position, back and forth. That's the way I designed it, okay? So if you look at the second half of 22, okay, because the first half you're just continuing that note from 21. So on beat 4 of 22, we're going to be third finger, because that's where we are in third position, to play the A, and then you play that, and then you have a little more time since it's a quarter note, shift back, right back into fourth finger, first position on the G natural, and then the downbeat of 23, you're going to play an E with first finger, first position. So here's what 22 looks like. So I'll count the first 3 beats of 22. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, let's try that again. Here's 22. 1, 2, 3, go. Good. And then if we continue, let's just do the first half of 24. It's the exact same as the first half of 21. I'm sorry, second half of 24 and second half of 21. So here's 24, the first 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, go. Good. And then 26, the second half is the same as the second half of 22, which will be 1, 2, 3, go. And that's how it ends. So this is a really nice little pattern here, because you can, once you get comfortable doing da 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 da, then basically the whole end of this melody just kind of fits nicely in the hand, because it's the same thing over and over again. Let's go ahead and look at the first ending, because that's the only place where it's a little different. Bar 27, you have a dotted quarter note tied to an eighth note, and then you have beats 5 and 6 in first position still, and then so beat 6, that first finger on E, that's one of those ones, because it's only an eighth note, where you play the note and you're already shifting, and you're going to go ahead down onto the G string and play that, in my version, with third finger, so third position again. The reason I don't do an open string is because in performance I would want a little more control. I also want to be able to vibrate, and so an open string, it gives you fewer options for how you can control the note and shape it, and so that's why I would go ahead and shift there. If that seems like just a little too much, you can always just play the open string. And feel free to change fingerings throughout this piece, whatever feels comfortable, and services the music however you hear it. So first, let's do the first ending. So I'm going to say go at the end of 27, so beat 6, and that's to signify you should be getting ready. The minute you play that note, you're already getting ready to play the downbeat of 28 in third position. So here's 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go. Good. And that's how it ends. All right, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go. Excellent. Okay, so now kind of walked through most of this. Let's go ahead, we'll work backwards. So we did the first ending. I think we can do this because, as I mentioned, we have kind of some similar shifting and patterns going on. So this is condensing even further. So if this is not comfortable, just practice the earlier steps until it is comfortable. And again, like I said in part 1, if this tempo is uncomfortable, take what I'm, kind of demonstrating and go ahead and pick your own tempo. I have it at 130 for the 8th note right now. It could be 120, 110, it could be whatever you want. Just something like that conductor I used to play with. He's tempo di lerno. Just whatever is a good learning tempo. It's not so slow that you're going to put the bow through your eye because you're so bored, and it's not so fast that it feels anxious in any way. Okay? All right, so second half of 21 all the way through the first ending. Sorry, second half of 20. So here's the opening. I'll count the 3 beats of bar 20 and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3. Go. 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 Excellent. One more time. So, first half of 20, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Go. 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 Great. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and tack on the bars that we tackled earlier in this part 2 video. So we're going to do the pickup to 17 all the way through the first ending, okay? Then, as kind of a bonus for part 2, because this is the end of our kind of left-hand treatment, what I'll do is we'll go ahead and do the pickup to 13 all the way through the first ending, because honestly, that bars 17 and 18 and 19 and 20, that to me, that's really part of bars 13 through 20. That's like its own little section. So I think mentally and musically, it's going to make a lot more sense if we start there and do a run through. Okay, so just because this is what we worked on today, let's do pick up to 17 all the way through the first ending. Pick up 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go. 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 Great. Okay, and now, because musically this I think makes more sense, let's go ahead. If you haven't looked at this at all, go ahead, just watch through part 1 because that's where we covered this. But let's go ahead and we'll do the pick up to 13 all the way through the first ending. So for 13, just a quick reminder, we'll be in third position with an extension. Here we go. All right, pick up to 13 is what we're starting with. So here's bar 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go. 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 Excellent. Okay, so there is a condensed but pretty systematic version, pretty good example of how I would approach learning this so that, again, all the bars get a pretty equal treatment, all the rhythms get an equal treatment, they get treated individually, like bar by bar, so that you really feel you understand what is going on in each bar and not just that it's this complicated thing that happens at the end of all these other bars. It's like each one gets its own time and your practice spotlight, and then you just kind of you keep splicing everything together, and eventually you have a very comfortable left hand situation where you're practicing when you're going to shift. All these things are taken care of so that when you add the bow, things don't completely fall apart and get physically tense. All right, I will see you next week. We're going to add the bow for part 3.